of Kittens and Broken Things, Chapter 41. Turns out everybody had an opinion about the genophage and the guns to back it up. They made their way to Melon to lively debate and deadly force. The way was littered with radiation, Varen, and Vorcha, along with the Krogan one would expect. And letter. Lots of letter. Russ muttered, "This place is such a wreck. Why the Krogan want it?" Kara asked, "If Palaven were wiped out, would you want to reclaim it?" That gave Russ a moment's pause. "I don't know. Turians haven't been the nicest to me." Morden said, "Turians have not been the nicest to Krogan." "They started it?" Kara said, "The Solarians started it." Morden answered, "True, but do not quote me. Solarians prefer Turians and Krogan killing each other, not killing Solarians." Kara said, "Look, I don't really have an answer here. I don't know what uplifting did to either Turians or Krogan. Morden, can you clarify?" Morden considered. "Species identified for specific purpose," Russ muttered. "Cannon fodder." Kara sighed. "Pretty good at shooting cannons, too." Morden continued. "Excellent candidates." Kara sighed. "Maybe, if everyone stopped trying to kill each other for a little while." Russ said, "Tell that to the Rachni." Thane nodded sagely. "She could have, when she allowed the Queen back out into the galaxy." Kara said, "It did come up. I asked. She seemed reasonable and not at all xenocidal." Thane said, "As would I, had I been isolated in a cell and at near extinction with someone's hand on the button for either my release or annihilation." Kara said, "Yes, but could you animate a dead Asari to speak in order to talk about singing songs to your children?" Russ sounded disgusted. "She what?" Thane conceded, "No, that I could not do." Kara said, "You have to step up your game, Thane. Morden, if Solarians invested maybe in something that would affect Rachni and not Krogan, as in a genophage for the Rachni, wouldn't that have helped avoid altering the Krogan to uplift them and handled the problem, also allowing Turians to develop naturally?" Russ laughed. "I don't think Solarians like the idea of things developing naturally." Morden wasn't insulted. "True as well. Peace, not well funded. Control of Rachni not as favorable as control of Turians, Krogan, and Rachni." Kara said, "Peace, not well funded is probably the bottom line to all of this. Solarians should refine their definition of control." Sooth asked, "Turians and Krogan were intended to fight the same opponent?" Kara said, "Historically, yes." "Why are they not friends, if the enemy of my enemy is my friend?" Kara twisted her lips. "They were identified for a specific purpose and were excellent warriors." "Are we not as well an excellent warrior?" "Yes, but I didn't uplift you. You chose to come to my attention." "Yet are we not offering the same for synthetics? That we will make excellent warriors? Are you not testing us for that at the moment?" Russ said, "Considering all the dead Vorcha at range, I think you passed that test, Sooth." "Thank you, Spectre Orbiston." "Call me Russ." "Sooth, you are different, and I am hoping you'll be an exception. You wanted to be with the squad? You requested that?" "Yes." "All right, then. This is an audition, but if you'd contacted me without a massive rifle strapped to your back, not made out of at least a gun, I'd still love you for your mind." Russ snorted. Thane interjected, "Loving someone for their mind seems so shallow, Shepard." Sooth said, "I accept being loved for my mind." Kara thought for a moment about whether or not Thane should be treated as a fake lover or drop that, as everyone here knew better, and Sooth didn't care. She ignored Thane, smiled at Sooth, and said, "Thank you. Some minds are shallower than others. You and I, Sooth, are trying to think our way through a problem, not shoot our way. If only Solarians had done that years ago." Morton shrugged. "I would disagree, but with analysis of history and funding, the data does not support any meaningful trend toward peace." Kara asked, "Morton, think you could make a difference in your people on that front?" Morton scoffed and held up his gun. "Old for a Solarian. Already opinionated on the subject. We are armed and can't think our way through here. Unlikely." Thane contributed, "Krogan are the longest-lived species among us, and they are the most warlike." Russ shrugged. "Then there are the Asari, and they're mostly dancers for the first 700 years." Kara sighed. "Well, it seems they go where the funding is. Maybe that's how they got so long-lived in the first place." Sooth asked, "Do we have funding?" Kara shook her head. "Thane has funding." Sooth asked Thane formally, "May we have funding?" Russ said, "Give the woman an allowance, Thane." Sooth asked with curiosity, "What is an allowance?" Kara asked Sooth, "How do you feel about high heels?" Thane said, graciously, ignoring Kara, "Sooth, if you require funding, of course I will help." Sooth asked, "Enough to uplift a species to be loved for their mind?" Russ snickered. "You might have to save up a little while for that one." "I will save up." Reaching Malon went like that, along with the radiation, the heat, the blasting wind, and all the murderous intent. Clan Werlock was much reduced in ranks. When they got to Malon and discovered he was voluntarily helping with the research, Kara put a gentle hand on Morden's arm before he stepped forward. Another hand signal, and everyone else's weapons were lowered. Malon looked terrified, sounded manic, or sounded Solarian. Kara was certain that if his hand moved toward a weapon, he would be dead 4 ways before she could blink. Malon appeared certain of that as well. Kara said, "We are here because Dr. Solus was concerned for your safety. It appears you are safe. It also appears that the research you are conducting involves torture of prisoners." Malon's weapon remained holstered, but he bit out his opinion of his people. "I don't have the resources the Solarian Union had to create the genophage, only volunteers and conscripts. Trillions have died to the genophage, unborn. Female Krogan kill themselves in despair. This is what I helped create. This is what I, alone, am opposing. The great minds of the Solarian Union are otherwise occupied on projects like uplifting Yogg. My people won't stop until they uplift every vicious creature in existence to set it against every other vicious creature, and everyone else suffers in the crossfire. How long until the Solarians decide the humans need a genophage, Commander Shepard? Or they set the Yogg on your planet? They're not happy humans are now a council race. They're not happy about you in particular. You don't think there are Solarian projects somewhere asking the question of how to solve the human problem? I can only produce a few dead bodies, but the lives deprived by the genophage would pile to the sky if they were counted. I have to do something." Sooth asked helpfully, "Do you require funding?" Malon narrowed his eyes, shook his head at the non sequitur interruption, and addressed Morton. "Go ahead. Kill me. It's what we do, isn't it? We kill people. That's what happens, isn't it? We try to uplift a species. They're robbed of their culture and they're trained to kill, trained to exterminate. I'm trying to break at least one cycle of judgment we created that weighed down an entire species." Morton shook his head sadly and said, "Torture. Execution. This is your answer?" Malon said, "I should just tell them I'm sorry instead. So sorry this happened. I can't do anything. I can do something. It's all here. I can reverse it." Kara asked carefully, not sure Malon was sane. Reverse the genophage? Malin nodded. Manic, yes, but also confident. Yes, there are female Krogan, volunteers. I'm so close. If I had support. Russ said, You have got to be fucking joking. Thane's hand tightened on his lowered but ready sidearm. Malin said, Look, just look, Morden. Just look at the data. We could do it. We could reverse the genophage. Russ bit out. That's not what we came for. Kara said, Mission parameters change on the fly often. Let's hear him out. Russ said, Reverse? The genophage? What the fuck, Shepard? Is the next stop warming some Rachni eggs? Kara ignored him and said, Morden, if you would, analyze what Malin has said. At the moment, we have a potential tool. Verify the tool is genuine, please. Morden moved to the console and immersed himself in the data. Kara, a bit frustrated she couldn't do it herself. She needed to learn to speak and read Solarian. Next project. Morden kept up a monologue, fortunately, though it clearly upset Russ. Limited data studies. Unique access to female cooperation. Barbaric. Ingenious. It's possible. Even probable. With this, yes, genophage could be reversed, given refined method. Kara muttered. And funding. She turned to Malin. What do you need here? Malin was slow to catch up. What? What? Kara asked. What do you need here to continue your research on a larger and medically ethical scale? Malin's eyes narrowed, and he turned to look at Morden, who said, Hospital of sufficient size. Needs security, staff, volunteers, refined methods and materials. Morden, you say it can be done. Should it be done? Morden paused, his mouth open for a long moment. Then he said, Genophage already doomed project. Will reverse itself over time, with the fight against Reapers, sentient warriors required, with the problems that have been created by the genophage, gesture of goodwill, of value, with the lives of all sacrificed up to this point, will not allow it to be in vain. Yes, it should be done. Kara asked, If I can secure funding, security, staff, volunteers, and materiel, would you both provide the refined methods that do not involve torture and butchery? Morden, would you stay here and finish this project? I could use you at the collectors, but I can also release you from that commitment to work on this. It's another front in the war. If we can end the genophage and Krogan resentment and hatred, set them back on their feet, it would save and create lives. It would buy a lot of hope and cooperation, potentially. Even if it doesn't, it's reversing something fundamentally wrong. I know you wanted to come here because you feel personally responsible for the genophage, because you are personally responsible for the genophage. Would you prefer to be personally responsible for reversing it? And can you work with Malin? Malin watched, stunned, as Morden said, Yes. Prove Solarian lives worth saving to Clan Urdnot. Kara smiled. Yeah, let me explain that bit to Rex. Malin, how many live subjects at this facility at the moment? Malin said, 50, give or take, considering methods and the fact that Commander Shepard has just invaded. All right. Please take my squad on a tour. Get live subjects consolidated, treated, and comfortable. Offer them the opportunity to unvolunteer. Russ, I want you to witness that the people here are treated well and given new choices. Yes, ma'am. All right. I need to have a very frank discussion with Urdnot Rex, arrange for legitimizing the research done here. Everyone, please go with Malin and help those 50 people. Malin did not quite believe it was true until Morden turned him away from her and said, "Time for rounds. Go." Thane tilted his head at her, and she believed he wished to remain behind with her, but she shook her head slightly. People needed help more than she needed security, and she trusted Thane to be able to keep Russ under control, answer Sooth's questions if they came up. He inclined his head, and she turned, contacted Rex. "Hey, about that Solarian?" "Yeah?" "He's alive." "Don't care." "Here's why you do. He might be able to cure the genophage."
Really?
"Really?"
So what do you need? A lot of security. Turns out we're good at that.
"Thought so. I'm sending the coordinates. There's bad news. He has been working with Clan Werlock, and his methods have been brutal. He's been experimenting on Urdnot. I sent a scout back from your clan. He was here voluntarily. There has been a Solarian on Tuchanka, experimenting on Krogan and humans, killing them. Werlock wanted to overrun Urdnot. Given the genophage reversal, they might have done it. So here I'm giving you a choice. Keep the Solarian that has been doing awful things that have paid off to a potential solution for reversing the genophage, or stop him. Right now they're identifying and making live patients comfortable. I can leave behind the Solarian you met earlier, or insulted earlier, or maybe it's the same thing in Krogan, Dr. Morden Solus. If they stay, I need you to provide security, materiel, and volunteer test subjects. Volunteers should know it won't be pretty, but it also might work. We will try to restrict it to painful and not lethal. There are about 50 subjects still here, some of them female. At least some are volunteers, so I am led to believe Krogan will volunteer for lethal if it means reversing the genophage for their people. I don't have all the information I need yet, but I want to get it and give it to you. Bottom line, awful things happening, as usual. On Vermeer, I annihilated a place that had the potential to cure the genophage. You back down. Let me do my thing, no matter what it costs your people. Now I have the chance to pay back your faith and bolster your leadership. Give your people back the potential. The choice is yours because I believe in you. I believe you could make a difference. Give the Krogan a real shot at getting their own back, making their own better.
Damn, Shepard. That was pathetic. Are you about to cry?
No,
Yes, you are.
I'm going to forgive you, Rex, because that's what I do.
Because you're about to cry.
Just for that, I'm going to cry.
You were going to anyway.
Get 100 Krogan out here in half an hour. Road's clear.
Yes, ma'am. Your score's back to 0. You got a -1 for taking the cure from me. Now you're back to 0.
I'll take it. On my way.
You done good, Shepard.
She smiled, and they looked at each other for a moment with hopeful smiles on their faces and tears in their eyes, and him looking like he wished he could cry too. Next, she called Garrus, waited an obligatory few minutes until he kicked everyone out of his office.
Lumieth, where the hell are you? Somewhere made of rust and despair?
Yep, pretty much. Krogan Hospital on Tuchanka. I've potentially got the cure for the genophage.
That's the despair part, potentially?
I'm going to make sure it becomes the cure for the genophage. Giving you the second heads up. Rex came first.
Garrus blinked and his mouth twisted. The words cure and genophage haven't gone together in 1,500 years, and I wasn't around then.
So what do you think we should do?
You don't have a plan?
This happened 10 minutes ago, Garrus. No. Kinda hoping the bright light of the Turian people could help me out here.
Well, this just happened 1 minute ago for me. Give me a second.
Fair enough. This is going to be a mess. I've asked Rex to get some security out here, but if the Solarians go for an orbital strike...
Never mind the Solarians. If the Turians go for an orbital strike.
Yeah. So we need to decide. You know about this, and you tell other people, or we take the chance on this being a secret. Hundreds of Krogan, though. Not big on secrecy. Plus, how to explain millions of baby Krogan? I have some information that the Solarians might already be aware exists. The Krogan were already evolving out of being affected by the genophage. It has had to be reinforced during history. So here's where the Turian counselor can maybe speak to the Solarian counselor and feel out their real motivations regarding the genophage versus the need for opposition to Reapers. You've worked with Rex. I think the Krogan deserve a shot at autonomy.
And if the Rachni and the Krogan kill us all and take over?
Then I'm figuring the Reapers will have a tough time.
Well, there is that.
It's the right thing to do, Garrus. Not politically. Not even for the war effort. I'll try to spin it that way, but I know hardly anybody's going to agree with me unless they're Krogan, and even then, all it does is set me back to zero. I haven't done something good for them. I've just reversed something horrible done to them. I'm not going to get anything good from this except knowing it's the right thing to do, and I'm doing it. That's why my first call was to Rex, and my first act was to not shoot the scientist who proposed it. He deserved to be shot.
He nodded solemnly. All right. Hey, are you crying?
Little baby Krogan, Garrus.
What?
Little baby Krogan. I bet they're so cute.
I bet they want to eat your face. Then they grow up into big Krogan who want to eat everyone's face.
Well, cute comes with a price.
I'm not approaching the Solarian counselor with the selling point that we're reversing the genophage because little baby Krogan are cute.
You said we.
Of course I said we, and there goes more crying.
It's a terrible thing, Garrus. And I love you.
It's terrible that you love me.
Sometimes.
Not today.
No, just today being terrible.
With the potential for little baby Krogan.
We're going to be up to our knees in baby Krogan soon.
Orbital strike coming right up.
It took her a little while to settle back down. Garrus looking at her with his blend of bond-struck approval and patience, and the slightest fear of being asked to adopt Krogan for the cuteness of it. When she'd settled down to slight giggles and sniffles, he said,
Limiath, come home. You should be here for this. Address the council. Come see me. We'll work it out.
She looked around at the place of rust and despair, hope and hard work, and said, Okay, let me wrap this up here, which mostly means handing it over to Rex and hoping nobody dies in the process. I'll be there.
Soon.
I'll be there soon. I miss you.
I'll be waiting. I miss you too.